Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel with me SANIATUL MASLUCHA from Extensive Reading G with attendance number 9. Today in this 8th meeting, I would like to present about novel report. Well, the novel that I would like to share today is Rich People Problems by Kevin Kwan. Well, let's get started. In this slide shows book details. There are author, pages published, and language. The author is Kevin Kwan with 582 pages. This book was published on May 23rd, 2019 with English language. So let's go to the next slide. There are characters. For the first characters is Rachel Chu or Rachel Young. She is married to Nick Young, a Chinese-American woman who is an economics professor at New York University. And the second character is Nicholas Young or Nick Young. Is Rachel's husband, who has a history professor also at New York University. He currently lives with Rachel in New York City, but is originally from Singapore and hails from a rich and powerful family. And the next character is Eleanor Young, is Nick's controlling mother, who schemes for her son to inherit her mother's in-law's great estate, the Tyersall Park. Next is Astrid Leong, is Nick's fashionable cousin whose reputation is put on the line due to her affair with her later fiancé Charlie Wood. Next, Araminta Ko, the wealthy heiress wife of Nick's best friend, the billionaire Colin Ko, who just had a miscarriage. And the last character is Addison Chang or Eddie Chang, is Nick's cousin who was very eager to inherit Tyersall Park because Eddie is ambitious and wants to prove to everyone who matters that he can live a lavish lifestyle, yet his personal philosophy clashes with his parents, who live a simple and modest life from their wealth. We go into the next slide. There are summary. In 2015, 2 years after the events that take place in China rich girlfriends, Nick and Rachel Young or Rachel Chu, an economics professor at New York University or NYU, are happily married and living their life in Manhattan. Nick is informed by his mother, Eleanor, that his grandmother, Sue Yi, has had a heart attack and that he must come home to reconcile with her before she dies. While Nick wants to make up with his grandmother's out of guilt for having shut her out of his life for marrying Rachel, as Sue Yi was opposed to the marriage, his mother wants him to make amends so he will be rights introduced into the will and inherit Tyersall Park, Sue Yi's home. The extended Shang Yong clan has descended upon Tyersall Park to say their last goodbyes with the hopes of getting into Sue Yi's good graces and inheriting part of her fortune. Nick is initially prevented from seeing Sue Yi due to scamming for his cousin Eddie Cheng, who believes he has a shot at inheriting his grandmother's estate. Eddie lies and convinces the entire family and house staff that Sue Yi does not wish to see Nick while she is on her deathbed. With the help of the head of security, the head maid or who overheard Eddie's plotting, and Astrid, Nick is able to sneak into Tyersall Park and speak with his grandmother while she is a cardiac intensive care unit in her bedroom. She is happy to see him and they make amends. Meanwhile, Astrid, Nick's cousin, becomes engaged again to Charlie Wu. Her relationship with Charlie faces obstacles from Charlie's scorned ex-wife Isabel Wu and Astrid's soon-to-be ex-husband Michael Theo. Astrid receives a grainy video dispatching her and Charlie having sex in his bedroom from Michael, with the threat of releasing the video unless it's given $5 billion in their divorce settlement. The video is released by Isabel just before she attempts suicide. Astrid is shunned by her family and retreats into seclusion, not even telling Charlie where she went. He goes to great lengths to track her down, eventually finding her on an island in the Philippines. He reveals to her that he has gotten Michael to sign off on their divorce without any challenge by threatening to have him prosecuted for illegal surveillance of Astrid and blackmail. He tells her that though Isabel survived her suicide attempts and is now in stable condition, her family had found out that she was involved in blackmailing Astrid with Michael and that she will face humiliations of her own. Astrid says that she wants to stay and to bring her son Cassian to live with the people on the island. Charlie is willing to let her have the life she wants but wants to know if there is any room for him. Next, Suyi dies and everyone prepares for her funeral. In her will, she leaves a share of Trestle Park to each of her vowed daughters, Alexandra, Felicity, Victoria, and Catherine, and her son Philip, Nick's father, along with the share to Nick, his cousins, and Eddie's brother, Alistair Chang. Upon the reading of the will, Eddie is humiliated to be left with nothing except his grandfather's antique sapphire cufflinks. Astrid inherits Suyi's fashionable dresses and jewelry. Jacqueline, Suyi's granddaughter, inherits her share settling holdings, make her a wealthy woman, and angering the family, who expected to inherit some of the shares and now only have Trestle Park. Returning to Trestle Park, Eddie variously confronts Fiona for humiliating him by not telling him about the contents of the will and ruining their family's opportunity to live in luxury. Fiona claims that she respected Suyi's privacy and that she only picked up the pen to sign the paper as a witness. Eddie ends up curled up in a ball, crying, with Fiona comforting him. The family initially agrees to sell Trestle Park to Jack Wing to be used by his new wife Kitty, the former Hong Kong soap actress and Alistair's former finance, for $10 billion. Because there are no funds to maintain it, Nick cannot bring himself to let Trestle Park go, and so he attempts to buy out the shares out by his 4 ounce, with his father signing over his portion directly to Nick. However, he is not able to raise the money to do this. Nick takes a trip to visit an elderly Thai prince based on a note left to him by his grandmother, thinking that this is the key to the funding to buy Trestle Park. However, he learns that this prince was his grandmother's first love and Aunt Catherine's biological father. Nick also learns that during World War II, Suyi's aided in the resistance efforts against the Japanese occupation of Singapore by providing Thrissell Park as a safe haven for many Chinese and British against working against the Japanese. Nick then tries to block the sale of Thrissell Park by claiming that it is his historic site. Rachel and Nick bring together Nick's friends Colin and Araminta Koo, Rachel's friends Ko Peiklin and Alistair to buy Thrissell Park and turn into the Thrissell Park Museum and Hotel. Kitty completes the deal by becoming a secret investor in their group in order to spite Jake, who had decided to buy Thrissell Park for College, his daughter, instead of Kitty. And the last, 1 year later, Picklin is marrying Alistair, with Nick and Rachel serving as best man and maid of honor. After years of trying to conceive, Araminta and Colin now have a 2-month-old son. Eddie finally changed his ways after Fiona convinced him to seek help and he goes to therapist. Astrid continues to live on the island with Charlie and has started designing her own clothes. He does not wish to get married yet, instead preferring to live a life of sin with Charlie. Enjoys the fact that this very much bothers her parents. Rachel reveals to Nick that she is 6 weeks pregnant. They would jokingly agree to not tell Nick's mother about the news, agreeing to wait at least until their child is 21. Yeah, in this slide is shows about moral value. This novel teaches us that no matter how rich a person is, no matter how rich person's life is, they will have problems, even very complicated. Even though there are so many problems ranging from social jealousy to social inequality, the characters can face this problem and find a solution. Well guys, I think that's all my explanation about this novel report. Thank you so much for your attention. Have a nice day. See you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.